Adrenaline Radio. I'm Fred Blanchard, your host of Adrenaline Motorsports. And today we have an in-studio guest, Javier Vasquez. So this started way back when. You were doing this back when?
I started in 75, and I was transferred in 1985 or 84, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And so walked into Aero Alloys, which was a big very big facility with dry sand and green sand. They made a lot of big parts there.
Well, it must have been a little more high-tech than high school. Why don't you tell us a little bit?
Oh, definitely. They had big automized machines. They made 300 molds per shift, and they had a robot that poured the aluminum. Everything was very, very high-tech. Big company, 482 employees, and they had a little secret in the back where they made dry sand, and that's where all the engine components were being made back there.
Really?
So I knew some of the guys already from Lions Drag Strip, and when I saw Ed Donovan walk through the middle aisle of the company, I thought I died and went to heaven. So shortly after, I chased him back to the back of the shop, and I realized that they were making his engine blocks.
Really?
So it was all said and done at that point in time, and I wanted to be involved with making aluminum V8 blocks.
Well, was that the beginnings of the 417 Donovan? Is that what that was?
Absolutely. That was what's being made, 417.
So that was the secret location of the 417 being cast over there at Aero Foundry, huh?
Yes. Shortly after that, I noticed Joe Paisano walking through, Joe Schubeck, Keith Black.
Oh, boy. JP1s for Paisano, I know, and then the KB, I don't know what product he was working on, but it must have been the 426 that he had helped develop with the folks there at Chrysler. And I know that they came to town, and I think he was involved with the aluminum version of the 426.
That is correct.
Yeah.
We were making those blocks for him, and then we started making them for Joe Paisano from JP1.
Yeah, JP1. I remember that well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Joe Schubeck making that Vector car. So we were making that Eagle V8 block for him just as well. And we did Nissan V6 and Toyota V6. And those were being used for the Le Mans 24-hour endurance race.
That was the factory casting the blocks there, huh? Basically for the high-performance side, right?
That's correct.
Wow.
We were the guys behind the scene.
Well, is this where all of the development of alloys and things that... because I do want to ask you, and I think we've had this conversation off air, but... when did you decide to go to school and take up metallurgy?
When I was working at Accurate Mold, the owner of that company was very good to me, and he had pretty much pushed me into going to school for something. And I got into the engineering side of it, and shortly after I got to Aero Alloys, I switched it into metallurgical science, and that's what I have a degree in.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So you're one of very few people that I can discuss this with that you have a degree in metallurgy and you own a foundry. What a combination. Yes. I would say it's an asset to the business without question. That's great. But I wanted to talk a little bit about as this progressed here at Aero Foundry. You were in training and being trained at the same time, and you were moving on down the road to get on the high performance side there at that plant. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Uh-huh.
I was working with 206 and 201, the very beginning of an engine block being made out of that material.
Wow.
And they brought a expert from France, and his name is Joe Raffin. and he is the gentleman that made the composition of material for 206 and 201. So I was lucky enough to work with him for 2 years, side by side, working on the Toyota TRD V6 block that they used for the Le Mans race.
How did that material differ from materials being used today?
It's a big difference. It's the same weight as the regular aluminum, except that it has high contents of copper and has silver in it. No other material has silver in it. So its yield strength is extremely high, and its highest strength is at 920 degrees.
Really?
Yes. You could actually see the metal glow red while they were in these 24-hour endurance race cars.
Really?
And, yeah. That's it begins at 850 to about 940, and that's when they have the highest strength.
This is not something that they can use in every race motor, though, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that dependent upon application, I think, is the other part of it, is it not? Because I know that some of the other numbers that I've heard about is like your 356. How does that differ from that? It's a little technical we're getting into here, but I just wanted to touch on that just briefly here.
It's 356. It's a standard material being used, and then we have A356, which is a little bit higher quality, and then we have a double A356, which is real high quality, and now we have what they call a B356. It's a material that was composed by several people, and I was lucky to be involved in that. And today I can actually buy that material by 100,000 pounds. That's the only way I can order it and purchase it.
Well, you better have a lot of business for 100,000 pounds, I can tell you that.
We just draw from that a little at a time.
Mm-hmm.
They're very gracious to us, and as we use it and it runs out, then they need to make a new batch for us, and we always have it there on hand. So I've been very lucky to have that, because our parts withstand a lot of abuse.